Today on the Game Marks podcast, we dig deep to find the SNK Neo Geo Pocket and play the Japanese wrestling exclusive Big Bang Pro Wrestling. We count down to our 1-year episode next week and have a little pre-party with some guests. Plug in and put on those nostalgia goggles because this week's Game Marks podcast starts now.
And now, the Game Marks!
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast. My name is Johnny Clash.
And I am George Feast, and this week we are playing Big Bang Pro Wrestling.
And as always, we love to hear from you guys, so please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and make sure to subscribe and rate this podcast wherever you choose to listen and join the conversation on social media at Game Marks Pod. Hi, George. How are you?
Hello, John. I'm doing well.
Good.
How are you?
Good. How are you feeling about last week when we played All-Star Pro Wrestling?
I'm sticking with it. It's just, there's nothing really else to say.
Futures endeavors.
I'm not changing.
Futures and endeavors. Double future.
Not changing my mind. Nothing's probably ever going to change my mind about that. And,
However, the game did look pretty, and I'm kind of hoping to see what they did in the next two versions of the game, because I believe they took out those stupid thumbstick controls, and we go back to typical face buttons like a regular wrestling game.
Yep, I believe that was in the Fast Facts that we had mentioned last week, and I am also looking forward to the second and third iterations of All-Star Pro Wrestling, but that is for year 2. But right now, we have a little bit of a giveaway going on, and where you leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, and you screenshot it, and you send it to our Twitter, at GameMarksPod, and you can enter to win your very own version, your Johnny Clash-owned version of WWF Steel Cage Challenge, the plug and play. Is it F? Is it E? What's the package say, John?
It says E. We only sell things with E now. But we actually had a really funny, I like this one. We got a good review this week. It is from NV Schultz. It says, you like wrestling? You like video games? What could be better? A podcast about wrestling games. It's like the Reese's Cup of wrestling video game podcasts. You get a little bit of both things you love in one package. I really like that one. So right now, you guys better step your game up because I want to give my plug and play to that guy right now.
That kind of makes me want to have like a little Reese's logo T-shirt thing going on there. Maybe that'll be a special exclusive if that's the review that wins.
Well, speaking of T-shirts, George. So right now we have a pro wrestling tee store, right? Where it's just a plethora of wrestlers, indie wrestlers, AEW wrestlers, Impact wrestlers from all over the world.
Friends of the pod.
Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and we are also...
Like I said, friends of the pod.
Friends of the pod. We are also included on that website, but now we opened our very own TeePublic store as well. So all you have to do is go on teepublic.com/user/GameMarksPod. It's the same Game Marks Pod we use on every form of social media, and you will get exclusive t-shirts. We're living in a weird era right now. We are selling a few different masks. You can get phone cases, prints. It's absolutely endless. And George, if this is okay with you, we are going to put out a 1-year anniversary exclusive t-shirt on TeePublic this Friday at 12 p.m. And with that, and on our own website, GameMarksPod.com, we are going to be putting up an exclusive 11x17 poster print.
I've crunched the numbers, I've looked at the sheets and the charts, and I think I'm going to give that the old stamp of approval. I've seen what you've done, and I think that it is awesome, and I think that it is great. Now, here's the wonderful thing about TeePublic. So, we're still having our pro wrestling tee store. I want to make that very clear. TeePublic is where the exclusive time-limited, one-off designs will be. So this shirt that is releasing on Friday, I mean, it's not going to be up forever. So this is your way to say that you were a part of the 1-year special of the Game Marks podcast. And, as the TeePublic store grows, as our pro wrestling tee store grows, more shirts become available. Maybe there's some exclusives that you guys have been asking for. You never know. You just never know what year 2 is going to bring.
All right, I like it. And with that, George, next week, we have a very special game planned for you guys for our 1-year episode. Stay tuned to the end of the episode where one of my pals is going to tell us what we're playing next week for the 1-year anniversary show.
With that, I think it's time for us to talk about some gaming news, Johnny. What do you got for me this week?
Are you looking to get a better grip on life? How about your video games? Well, VGF Gamers are the largest silicone gaming brand in the USA. They have a variety of different and unique skins for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One controllers and consoles. Check out their products at VGFgamers.com and use code GameMarks to receive 15% off your order at checkout. That's GAMEMARKS at checkout. VGF Gamers. Better grip, better style.
It's official. Splinter Cell is coming to Netflix. The beloved action game franchise is being given a TV adaptation at Netflix thanks to writer Derek Kolstad. You may know Kolstad's name on its own, but he's one of the writers behind Keanu Reeves' John Wick films. Variety reported on Thursday that Netflix and Ubisoft have teamed up for Kolstad's project, which will be an animated original series for the streamer. Kolstad will serve as the writer and executive producer for the show. Now, fortunately for his fans, this Splinter Cell series won't be a one-and-done kind of thing. Netflix has reportedly already given the series a 2-season, 16-episode commitment. Last week, EA revealed a brand new UFC 4 trailer giving PS4 and Xbox One players a preview of the game's career mode, which includes a variety of new features and improvements from the career mode of the past games. As you would expect, it looks like an EA Sports game career mode, but it does have some additional features that players in the game should appreciate when they aren't dumping endless hours into multiplayer, like me. Included in these additions is Coach Davies, who will guide players on their journey. There's also a new relationship system, new fighter evolution, new choices to make, and the opportunity to learn from some of the best fighters in the Octagon. And lastly, the new Star Wars game is coming to PS5 and Xbox Series X. More specifically, Star Wars Squadron, the latest Star Wars game since Jedi Fallen Order, will release on PS5 and Xbox Series X. However, there's some bad news for those who upgrade to the next-gen console. While the game will be available on both PS5 and Xbox Series X, these versions of the game will not feature any upgrades. In other words, they'll be just like the PS4 and Xbox One versions. And that's all the gaming news we had today. See you next week.
All right, so, Splinter Cell getting a Netflix show.
We were just talking about that too.
I was going to say, you've talked many a times about how much you liked Splinter Cell. Are you excited? You ready to see Sam Fisher come into the fold on Netflix?
Yeah, I miss Sam Fisher. I would like to. Now I want to get the games I didn't play because I only played a few of them, and I want to start. I want to start them over again. So Splinter Cell is by Tom Clancy, and I thought that was interesting because so is Jack Ryan. And I started the show, so I was looking recently into Jack Ryan. He's a character in a few movies, played by a few different people before John Krasinski, and then I saw that certain people had the rights to use the name Jack Ryan, so to see Splinter Cell's on Netflix and not one of those networks or like Amazon Prime, that's kind of interesting. So
very interesting. It is for sure a very interesting time in terms of the amount of things that are video games being turned into shows. There's rumors about so many different games getting series now. It's very interesting. It's very exciting.
Yeah, I wonder what the animation's going to be like. If it's going to be pure CGI or I don't know.
Yeah, a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. But anyway, George, it's time for our favorite segment, the question of the week.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Johnny Clash, and I'm here to tell you that the Game Marks Podcast have their own pro wrestling tee store. Brace yourself, because the Game Marks Podcast are on ProWrestlingTees.com with 4 brand new designs that are guaranteed to be the next big thing. So head on over to ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod today and play it forever. Marks.
All right, guys. So the question of the week is a weekly segment. We go back and forth and ask each other a question, and then we like to propose the question to you. Last week was Johnny's turn. Why don't you take us through last week's question, John?
All right, last week was, if you could book a cinematic match, who would be in it, and what would the theme be? I put up a couple examples like a Sting and Undertaker Bell Tower match, a barroom brawl between Stone Cold Steve Austin and CM Punk, and MJF's Golden Mansion match with MJF against Randy Orton. You know, just shooting the breeze here. We got a few funny answers. We got Shook Crew versus 3 Live Crew in the final scene of 8 Mile. We got $1 Million Man versus DDP in the showdown on Vegas. Santino versus R-Truth in a Universal Studios backlot match. You know, the endless. If you want to check those out, go check our tweet from last week on the question of the week and see the responses. We got some good ones. But George, this week it is your question. So what do you have for me?
All right. So this is a topic I don't think that we have touched on yet in the first year of this podcast. So I would like to ask you, as well as everybody else listening, what is your favorite Easter egg that you've ever found in a video game?
All right, so I have 2 here. One of them's funny, one of them's kind of like a little sad, but if you're a fan of the Call of Duty franchise like I am, I've noticed this in Warzone and a bunch of the past games. I believe Modern Warfare 2, or it was Black Ops 2, one of the maps had a full room that just was a room of teddy bears. And now, through the current games now, there's still teddy bears scattered throughout the game. And that's because one of the developers' daughters passed away. And this is kind of like an homage to her through every game of putting the teddy bears in. So that was one of my favorite ones. That was kind of cool. But
I did not know that was a sad thing. I thought the teddy bear was just like a thing. That's why I laughed at the beginning. I was like, oh yeah, I remember the teddy bears. But now I feel like a dick laughing because I didn't know it was
No. I mean, a lot of people might not know that. But all right, so my other one. In the first Gears of War, there was a map called Rooftops. And I believe this was changed for the Ultimate Edition. They tamed it down a little bit, but there was a window behind the spawn on one of the sides of the map. And when you threw a smoke grenade into the window, there was a silhouette of a man pooping. Kind of like a ghost in there.
Okay.
So they changed it for the Ultimate Edition, where now you just kind of like see his head and it kind of looks like a soldier's like silhouette. But in the original game, it was a full-on like a man sitting on a toilet bowl. So that's mine. What do you say? What are yours?
Okay, so a few immediately jumped out at me when I came up with this question. The reason I thought of this question was because I was going through some old screenshots through my Steam library and found screenshots from Arkham City, I believe it is, when you are going through the city and there are the random Easter eggs where you'll look at a sign and then you'll turn away, and if you come back to the sign, suddenly the Joker's face is on them. So the first time I saw those, I lost my mind because I was like, my game's broken. Maybe I'm losing my mind. Maybe something's wrong. Like I didn't know what was going on. So I took a bunch of screenshots of them and I found them and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that this was a thing. And the other one that always jumped out at me, or the other one that I always kind of liked was the in Doom. I think it's either Doom 2 or Doom 3. At the end, after you defeat the final boss, if you put in the no-clip code and you go through the wall, the final boss is waiting for you, and it's the developer's head on a spike. So it's John Romero's head just like on a spike, and it turns out that actually the final line is actually reversed audio that says something like, if you want to win the game, you have to beat me, John Romero, like, and it's that text reversed, and like that's what you hear is like the garbled, like evil, demonic language. And I always thought that was kind of funny because as a kid, I was big into the Doom series. It was something that me and my dad used to play through. And then honorable mention to the cow level from Diablo 2. I know that you probably have never played Diablo in your life.
I dabbled, but no, not really.
I say I'm not expecting you to do that. And then, because it's his birthday, as we're recording this, I will do one more Easter egg for friend of the show, Max Caster. In GTA San Andreas, he talked about that's his favorite game of all time, or the last video game that he played.
Reasonable.
You can go up to the bridge, the top of the bridge, and there's the sign that says there are no Easter eggs up here. Go away.
All right, George. With that, actually, I just saw something cool pop up on Twitter from the SmackDown Hotel, one of our favorite websites. If you go on the SmackDownHotel.com/roster/WWE, they added this thing here where you could select a date and it'll come up with the entire WWE roster that was there on that date.
Oh, whoa, that's kind of neat.
So, like, I'm going right now. I'm going all the way back. Let's go to my birthday when I was born. October 12th, 1988. WWE roster. Here it is. Andre the Giant, Arn Anderson, Axe, Bad News Brown. This is awesome.
Hold on, I'm going to check that out.
Check it out. That's good. I could check the WCW
where do you go?
roster.
Roster database?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
We could play with this all day.
Oh, I might. This is pretty awesome.
All right, we're going to play with this a little bit, but we're going to throw it to the hashtag deep dive of Big Bang Pro Wrestling. Hey guys, Johnny here. While we love talking about video games and wrestling here on the podcast, we wanted to share with you a new offer from our friends at Stitcher. An enormous amount of shows and bonus episodes are available on Stitcher Premium, such as Office Ladies, Comedy Bang Bang, WTF with Mark Aaron, How Did This Get Made, Bitch Sesh, True Crime Garage, Marvel's Wolverine, and plenty more. Right now you could sign up for Stitcher Premium for only $4.99 a month or $34.99 a year using our code GameMarksPodcast. That's all one word. Head on over to Stitcher.com/premium for this amazing deal and a free month. That's Stitcher.com/premium and use code GameMarksPodcast. That's all one word. Game on, Marks.
All right, so Big Bang Pro Wrestling, released November 23rd, 2000 for the Neo Geo Pocket Color, developed by SNEO, published by SNK Playmore. And yeah, this was actually a very interesting game. Prior to playing the game and actually doing the research on it, I was not aware that this was a 2000s game. I thought it was a little earlier, maybe like 90, 96, 97, but year 2000. So this game actually has a working English option, so there was no ridiculous Johnny Translate with Google this week, which is fun.
Didn't have to happen.
It's a sprite-based wrestling game, which, you know, chef's kiss, very lovely, beautiful sprites that are well animated. Again, something that gets me very excited for Retrofest. So apparently, I'm assuming that you did not own a Neo Geo Pocket as a child.
No, did you?
No.
Do you know anyone that did?
No. The most obscure console that I was ever close to owning was my cousin owned a Virtual Boy.
Did you ever own a Cyberco?
I did own a Cyberco.
What? Oh my god, I thought I was the only one.
I did. No, I had a Cyberco, I had a Yak Back, I had all those weird
Cyberco.
things.
There was that like Doom game that came with it. How cool was that freaking game?
So here's my big thing about Cyberco, is there was like, it's online and it's portable and you could do all those things, and then none of my friends had them, so it was pretty useless.
Yeah, I never knew how to actually get it like online. I just would play the games that came with it.
I was so ready to be like, it's a handheld, I could play online, I could do things and be stupid with my friends, and then...
Yeah. All right. We digress, but yeah, that was one of the best like Doom type games, just entering hallways and shooting aliens or whatever it was.
Now, maybe not as hard to get as the Cyberco, but this game Pretty rare, actually. Pretty hard to come across, but maybe... Let me see. Is there a fast fact about how much it goes for on eBay right now? Okay. Very hard to obtain, but, we'll touch on that a little later. There may be a fast fact about it. And, but like most Japanese wrestling games, there are a few characters that are based on WWF/E wrestlers. Sadly, John, though, this game, no exhibition mode.
No exhibition.
No, there's, your game modes are one match, tournament, IEW championship versus match, which unfortunately you need a second console with either wireless connection or link cable, and then your options. But one match. All I need is one match.
One more match.
One more match. So, I really don't know. There's so many things I want to talk about.
All right, why don't we start
really,
with
don't know where to
the
start.
Story mode here for the championship?
Okay. So, story mode is exactly what you would expect. So, I played through the IEW championship mode. Pretty cool. Standard fare for what you would expect from games around this time. It's pretty much just a tournament, just like you would think. You pick your wrestler, you battle through all the matches, and then once you play through, I think it's either 6 or 7 matches, you are crowned the IEW championship, and then the defense portion of that match, the defense portion of those series of matches goes, and you play until you lose. Now, for this year, the great king of IEW, Joseph Steele, returns to defend his throne. Ooh. And there is the story of the 8 top wrestlers competing for the greatest prize in the ring. Obviously, it's the IEW Championship belt. And so your roster...
So there's actually... Like, the cutscenes are actually cool. They're very, I guess you'd say, anime style. Where, kind of like what RetroSoft is doing right now. Where, with Retromania, where it's kind of like an animated still photo with just text under it. Kind of like the Fire Pro, like Road to the Championships.
Yes.
But, I think...
Exactly like that. That's actually, a very good comparison.
Yeah, I think those looked pretty good. Easy to understand.
Yeah.
Not too long.
Now, I feel like I've literally been talking for the whole first part of this episode.
Yeah, it sucks.
I would think... All right, fine. Well, then, you know what? Not even going to ask you. You're reading the roster this week. Go do it.
All right. First up, there's Brian McDougal, a power character who takes a lot of inspiration from Goldberg. Then there's Mashi the Oriental, known as Macy in the game, but listed as the Oriental in the manual. He is a versatile fighter who could spit mist and appear in a puff of smoke before his matches, inspired by the Great Kabuki. Then there's Mike Martin, a slow wrestler who focuses on powerful grapples. Is this Johnny Clash? Has a similar moveset to Kurt Angle. No, it's not.
Power grapple? That's what you're known for? Power grapples?
Well, emphasize, the slow wrestler part. Then there's Deets, a character who looks, acts, and moves like The Undertaker. I think he was probably my favorite sprite in the game because he was black and white and he looked really cool.
Really cool.
Then there's Sho Hayama, a practitioner of Vale Tudo. He's a quick-moving technique wrestler who relies a lot on his physical attacks. Don't we all? David Bogner, the heaviest wrestler in the game who is a brawler character. He's the only character who cannot climb the turnbuckle. I mean, that's a little discriminating. Viscera climbed the top rope, so did Vader. Come on. Alex Fall, a slim and cocky guy who is actually a rather strong grappler, heavily inspired by The Rock.
Now that's Johnny Clash.
Yeah, totally. Then there's the Great Eagle, a speedy technique wrestler who bears a resemblance to Tizak. Then there's Ki Nakano, a time release character, and the only lady wrestler in the game. She is the quickest yet weakest character, and is Joseph's manager. Now, Joseph Steele, the IEW World Champion and the final boss who is playable after he's defeated in the IEW tournament. He is one of the tallest wrestlers in the cast and fights with his own powerful grappling style, similar to that of Now, who's one of the tallest, powerful grapplers you could think of? Shawn Michaels. Your face says it all. This is a voice podcast, George. You have to speak.
I'm sorry. It's just not like one of the tallest characters in the cast and fights with his own powerful grappling style, similar to that of Shawn Michaels.
But I'll say this: while all of these are maybe their movesets are inspired by whoever we said, I don't think really any of the appearances are, other than Dietz, who resembled the Undertaker.
I say Mike Martin is the guy that I played through as most of the time.
Yeah.
And I loved him because his finisher is just a massive German suplex. It's awesome.
And he's huge. He's jacked. Now, much like other pocket games and Game Boy games and handhelds, yes, handhelds, George. Not mobile.
Hey, I've been good.
Not mobile games.
I've been good the last couple of weeks. Will hasn't had to yell at me.
The attacks are limited to just the A and B buttons on the Neo Geo Pocket. The A button is used for physical attacks and grappling, and the B button is used for various actions like getting out of the ring, climbing the turnbuckle, taunting, and pinning an opponent. Now, when your name's flashing on the top of the screen, that's when it's time for your special attack. And by doing so, all you have to do is press the A and B together. But the thing is, the flashing of the name happens almost like immediately into the match, so you could just kind of keep rocking them with your finishing moves.
Yeah, it's pretty much 3 or 4 moves into the match. My name started blinking, and then I was just able to hit consecutive German suplexes. Or if you fought as Sho, he's got like a spinning knee bar kind of thing. It's fairly simple to get there, but once you hit your finisher, it's very satisfying. And then every time you hit your finisher, there's like a small little cutscene that plays where I'd say it's very similar to like the Marvel Capcoms or the SNK fighting games, where your little cutscene background pops up, your character's face comes on the screen depending on what side of the ring you're standing on, and then you hit your finisher. It's very similar to like the special or ultimate moves that you would use in any of the SNK fighting games.
Yeah, like Shin Nippon Pro Wrestling 95 that we played.
What the name of the game is.
It was in there too. The way you actually grapple in this game is very similar to Fire Pro Wrestling. Obviously, when you go next to the person, you're just going to initiate the grapple, and then the first person to press A or B is the first person to pull off the move. Now, the timing's a little different. I will say, I'm getting pretty damn good with that Fire Pro grappling system, but this one,
what
took a little get used to.
What's happening in this world where Johnny likes fire? I still cannot believe that is that's a sentence that I get to say.
It took a year. Okay.
So I was expecting it for it to be the life of this podcast.
All right, so let's get into this crowd and the artwork, because me and my crowds, I love the crowds. I thought this one looked pretty good for what it was. George, what was the sign we saw in the crowd?
It was Socket, I believe, is what it said.
So this is 2000, the pinnacle of the Suck It. But instead, in this game, in the crowd, there's a big sign that says Socket. I thought the colors were a little bit muted, but then again, it's just the Neo Geo Pocket, so what do you really expect? But the animations,
I gotta say, though,
entrances, cutscenes, they were all pretty great.
That's exactly what I was just about to say. The animations, the sprites themselves, very nice, very clean. Big fan of everything that was happening in this game graphically. The entrances are super cool. There's unique music and animations to everyone's entrance. I would say some people had pyro, some people had like smoke that they would have on the ramp when they would come out. It was pretty good. It was pretty interesting asset of pretty interesting use of the assets. Now John.
Now George.
This is our first Neo Geo game.
Is it our last? Are there more?
I believe there's a few more Neo Geo Pockets, Neo Geo based games that we'll be playing. But let's talk about this artwork because jumping from console to console each week, most weeks, sometimes we do same console a few weeks in a row. But I want to talk about the difference in this style of artwork than others. So usually we're used to that big bar on the side for like the Game Boy games. The Nintendo branding kind of wasn't as harsh for like the original style of Game Boy, where you would usually just have like the little logo. I feel like the Neo Geo Pocket kind of followed that same suit, where like you're not dedicating a huge part of the packaging to the logo itself, so you really get a good sense of like the game itself. Like the logo is super cool. You get this awesome like hand-drawn wrestling, which I think maybe Mike, if I had to guess, I'm gonna go ahead and say that is Mike and Brian on the cover.
Mike and Brian, so basic. But yes, I agree.
Okay, fine. It is Mike Martin and Brian McDougal on the cover.
That did not help at all.
Okay, so Mike's the guy that I played that had the German suplex, and Brian is the guy that's supposed to be Goldberg.
Right. Yeah, no, I like this a lot. I like the logos.
Even though it kind of does look like KM's on the cover.
Yeah. I like the logo's cool. It reminds me a little bit of like the Rumble Roses one a bit. But yeah, like you said, shows wrestling. That's all we care about. It shows wrestling. And
I was just saying, that's the thing that we've pointed out so many times when we talked about the artwork. You want to know what you're getting into from the front cover.
Now, the Neo Geo cartridges, they're like a mix between like a traditional Game Boy game and a Game Boy Advance game. They're like somewhere in the middle, I would say.
Yeah, it's like it's a Nintendo cartridge, but shorter,
yeah,
I
like
guess, but
Game
with
Boy
the
Advance.
label. But with the label of an N64 game?
Or a Game Boy Advance label.
But I feel like the Game Boy Advance is like, all right. You're right. I'm wrong, you're right. Johnny wins.
What? Good thing this is being recorded.
Wait. Also, Sega Genesis? Kind of, sort of?
Yeah.
A little bit?
Except, it's very small.
Yeah. But Game Boy Advance. Like I said before, John. Stop disagreeing with me. It's a Game Boy Advance cartridge.
Cool. So the back cover, same images from the front with 3 screenshots, and then on the left it shows the roster. Now, obviously this is a fake roster. No one knows who it is, so the names aren't on there. It's just kind of their sprites looking all cool. So overall, pretty good artwork.
Yeah, big fan of the Birdman guy.
Yeah, the chicken from Family Guy.
Wait, we didn't mention him in the roster.
Yes, we did.
Who's the Birdman? Oh, the Great Eagle. Sorry.
Mm.
I just kept calling him Birdman. Sorry.
Birdman lugs.
And then obviously, like most games, we have the 3 definitely giant screenshots of the gameplay. Clearly, you can see exactly what's happening. Obviously, that is sarcasm. They are so microscopically small. Probably about the size of the Neo Geo screen. And yeah, again, it's just like a game that shows you exactly what you're getting into. There's no secrets here.
No, but with that, George, do you want to hit some fast facts?
Let's do it. Unlike many other wrestling games from this time, Big Bang Pro Wrestling puts a referee in the ring to call the match, and some moves can take out the ref for a brief period of time.
This game is very hard to find, but if you were to find it, the prices are roughly $96 loose, $200 complete, and $432 brand new.
Wow, that's pretty steep. You have some deep pockets to play this game, or if you wanted to give the game a try, we recommend that you check it out on arcadespot.com.
Alright, so there was one part in there that we said about the referee. Now, the referee, honestly, you don't really even notice him there other than when, like, obviously a pin happens or a submission, he gets in the way. But something cool, when you were in a submission hold, he actually grabbed your hand, raised it up, and dropped it, kind of like real wrestling, like 1, 2, and then on the third one, you, like, shook it and you got out of the hold. That was really cool.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. I was definitely not expecting that.
It's like a small feature that I was like, oh, alright, that's nice.
I don't even think they've done it in a WWE
No,
game.
definitely not.
That's such a cool feature. All right. But with that, John, I mean, we've been talking for like 35, 40 minutes. I think I need a little bit of a break. Let's get some stretches going on and do a little R&R. Take us through some ratings and reviews, bud.
All right, not much going here, but I went to my good friend Game FAQ for some user ratings. So the overall game rating is about a 3 out of 5. The difficulty, a 4 out of 5. And hours played is about a 2 out of 5 with about 8 hours of gameplay. Now, a Game FAQ user, Frog Torch, also did a deep review of the game in 2006 and gave the game overall an 8 out of 10. So that's really all I have to go off right now.
All right. And unfortunately, for this week, there will be no Clash at the Feast. Now, are we saying at this point that I have won?
Yeah, we said it last week. You won, George. You won. Here, congratulations.
Okay.
You won.
Hey, I'm just listen.
I told you, I got
theories.
something for you that I'm going to show you next week to present you, and that's that.
Oh boy. Oh, all right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot you showed it off air to Phil, and Phil lost his
He
mind.
lost his mind. But
And I had to like, turn off my screen so I couldn't see
but
it.
here's a question for you: next week's game, does it count towards last week, or is it the start of a new series?
Well, technically, it's releasing for the 1 year. So
So I think that should be the first one of the new series.
let's do the math here. So this episode that we are recording right now releases on the 3rd. Then technically it wouldn't, because technically our anniversary is the 19th. So technically whatever the episode that releases on the 17th is the first.
Oh, all right, fine. We're still going to do it next week just because we like the game.
All right. I was trying to give you the benefit
That's
of the doubt
okay.
because I agree.
We still have to figure out rules
I
for what we're doing anyway.
for season chapter at GMP2. All right. Now we said no Clash at the Feast, but I think I'm looking at my watch, John. See me looking at my watch?
Yeah, that watch has been broken for a while, I guess. I don't know.
I know, yeah, it's a stupid thing. But I always know what time it is. It is right now. Right now. It is time to rate the game.
The game!
Okay, I'm going to make you go first this week. George. Get real close. Big Bang Pro Wrestling for the Neo Geo Pocket. Would you play it forever? Or future endeavor?
You're fired!
All right, I got really close to my microphone so you can really understand what I'm going to tell you.
Damn, that's a big forehead. Okay.
Wow. I'm going to play it forever.
Really?
I liked it, man. I had a lot of fun. I thought it was good. For what it was, pocket handheld game. I liked it. I think I'll say this: your other mobile game options. I'm sorry.
Ooh, there it is. There's the slip.
Yeah, I slipped. It's fine. I'm gonna fix it right now, though. Your other pocket / handheld game options for wrestling at the time. I think this may be better than most of them. Yes, this is an incredibly difficult game to find. Yes, it's incredibly expensive, but I say go check it out. Get an emulator. Go play it on arcadespot.com. And if you really like the game, spend the $90 and get it loose.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know. I like it. I think it was kind of cool. Now, judging by your response to my response, I'm assuming that you are not in full agreement with me.
Yeah, no. I didn't like this game at all, so I'm gonna future endeavor.
You're fired!
We were so in sync for so long.
Yeah, You know, there was one moment when I was playing, because obviously we had to take turns because we couldn't both play at the same time, where I was just getting wrecked, and you just looked at me and go, is your controller working? I was like, yes, George, yes, it's working.
We were so in sync, and now it's tearing up my heart.
Yeah, when I'm with you.
Oh, boy. All right, well, you know, a little bit of bad downside because John's future endeavor in the game, but upside, it's time for Johnny Fire Pro.
All right, so I didn't create anything this week. All I did was play a bunch, but a friend of mine, Dorian Graves, a fellow Creative Pro wrestler, he has a really good Fire Pro account for PS4 if you're looking to download some local guys. So his profile's name is Mr. Demonic. That's one word, MrDemonic. He's got himself up there, Fighter Cat, CPA, Max Caster, Kevin Tibbs, Bryce Donovan, VSK, a really good Rey Mysterio Jr., a couple Cap logos. So if you're looking to get some local guys, if you know who I'm even talking about, check those out on his Fire Pro profile. That's really all I got this week.
All right, John. So I heard you say earlier that you had a some kind of guest or a buddy of yours.
Yeah.
Waiting to say. I guess take it away.
All right, hang on. Let me call him.
I am Raven, professional wrestling superstar, but you already know that. I mean, it's obvious. So next week, you are going to be playing WCW NWO Revenge, because I'm on the box, I believe. And I, being Johnny, saying to George, you, that he will win the next round of your gaming tournament. Is there only the two of you in the competition? It's not really much of a tournament, is it? Two-man tournament? Maybe there's others. Maybe there's others that Johnny expects to go and wipe the floor with before coming to you, George. If that is in fact your real name. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about any of this. Quote to Raven, nevermore.
That was the Raven telling us that next week for our 1-year anniversary show, we are playing the classic WCW NWO Revenge. I'm excited. I haven't played this game in a little bit.
Listen, this ranks higher than most other games for playtime. For me, we've talked about it a couple times that I think that this in the AKI series is closer to the top than the bottom. Geez, I'm trying to think of where to start. We've heard so many people on, what's the term? Our family, our network of podcasts. I don't know what term we want to use, but our friends of the pod who also have their own pods have also talked on several occasions how high this ranks for them. I mean, this is it's a staple in so many people. There's going to be some serious nostalgia goggles happening.
Well, maybe we'll just have to
very excited.
Hit those friends with a little. Well, maybe we'll have to get those friends to talk about the game with us just a little bit.
Wait, we're having people slide into those DMs?
They might be.
Oh my God. Oh, I'm very excited. With that, guys, it's going to do it for us this week on the Game Marks Podcast. Please check out our Pro Wrestling Tees store at ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod. It is currently the best way besides listening to support the podcast, and be sure to follow us on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod. Leave us a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts and subscribe to wherever great podcasts can be found. And hey, don't forget about our brand new TeePublic store at teepublic.com/user/GameMarksPod for all your exclusive t-shirts, masks, phone cases, prints, and more. Thanks for hanging out with us this week. Be safe, wash your hands, wear a mask, do all those things that you're supposed to be doing, and Johnny, say goodbye.
Game over. Marks. Quote the Raven, nevermore.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no Game Shark. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the clash at the feast, how can I get more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.